Let us turn to the macro level theories, zooming out to see the whole societal structures and systems. That's what we're doing here. We're zooming out, macro level theories. We're going to see everything. Boom. We're going to see like the whole thing. This is where you get to structures. That's where you get to structures and systems like the international economy and cultural norms that constrain society writ large. Have you ever noticed how, in a crisis, governments can find hundreds of billions overnight to stabilize markets, but it's when it's schools, housing, or minimum wage, suddenly the money is complicated? I'm Professor Hellstrom, and in this video, we're going to talk about political economy. Political economy examines how economic systems and political institutions interact to shape decisions. Unlike theories that focus solely on political and economic factors in isolation, political economy treats them as intertwined. Governments make political choices that affect markets and economic forces that shape political behavior. This perspective is especially useful for understanding why politics often prioritize economic interests, class structures, or global markets dynamics over purely ideological or moral concerns. A classic everyday example, political economy would say, is a government deciding whether or not to raise the minimum wage. A purely political approach might focus on voter preferences or party ideology. Political economy, however, asks who gains economic power, who loses it, and which organized interests can punish the government for going in the wrong direction. Business lobbies may resist wage increases, arguing competitiveness and job loss, while labor unions will push for them, citing economic justice. The final decision rarely reflects the best evidence alone. It reflects the balance of power between these groups, electoral incentives, and broader ideological commitments to markets versus intervention, argues political economy. Now, here's a very concrete real-world example where political economy would have a ready-made argument for you. The 2008 financial crisis and the bank bailouts. In the United States, Congress authorized up to $700 billion for TARP in October 2008 to stabilize the financial system. The authority later reduced to $475 billion, and by September 30th, 2023, the total spend was $443.5 billion. From a political economy perspective, what matters is not just that the government responded, but how and to whom the response was targeted. The priority was preventing systemic collapse in finance, because if the financial sector goes down, it takes the whole economy with it, and the political fallout is immediate. In other words, the structure of capitalism creates a situation where saving the system often means saving the institutions at the top of it. One of the most influential strands of political economy is, of course, Marxist theory, where you have the capitalist class versus the worker class, and the struggle between these two drive history, basically. It sees the economic structures of capitalism and the struggle between classes as a driving political outcomes. From this perspective, policies often reflect the interests of the economically dominant, so the capitalist class, rather than a neutral public good. Another strand, liberal political economy, argues that free markets, trade, and limited government intervention create prosperity, so it tends to justify deregulation and globalization as common sense. Political economy is particularly useful for explaining why governments often favor corporate interests, how economic elites shape what becomes common sense in policy debates, why unpopular policies can persist despite resistance, and why economic crises can trigger political upheaval. However, the model has difficulties identifying non-economic forces in politics. It often overemphasizes economics and materialism at the expense of culture and ideology, nor does it recognize the agency of individuals in political systems and institutions. If you've ever wondered why economic policies so often seem to benefit the wealthy, or why trade deals and bailout packages are structured the way they are, political economy is ready with an answer for you. Political decisions are rarely just about governance. They're also about managing the economic forces that underpin power itself. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found that useful.